Okay, let's go ahead and take you guys through the process that I would go through in constructing that kind of Greek style temple that we did together the other day in class. So, here I am. I have a brand new Blender scene that's open, and I'm starting with this box. I'm going to go ahead and scale out this box a little bit. Now, if I hold down Control and Tab, I'll hop over into Edit mode, and then I'll go ahead and use the Loop Cut tool to start dividing this box up. Okay, I just zoom in here real fast, and I'm going to put in a few additional cuts in here. These are going to turn into steps. I'll cut across horizontally. Now I'll click and hold with this tool and drag it over about like so. Now I can pop this little thing up right here, and I can look and see where this ended up falling in relationship to this line and this edge right over in here. Maybe just to make that a little easier, I'll manually change that to 0.3. So I'll click and hold on this side and drag it over, and then change that value also to 0.3. All right. Now I'm going to come into select faces. All right. So come in here, and I'm going to grab all these individual faces right here that I am going to extrude out into steps, right? Rotate around that, and I'll just press E on my keyboard and extrude it out a little ways, all right? And the second that I click, then it commits that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude each step out just 0.25 meters. Hold down Shift and unselect those, press E, translate these out, change that value manually to 0.25, E, extrude it out, change that value to 0.25, deselect, and I'll just go through and continue repeating that process until we get down to the first landing. Oops. Sorry, I inadvertently selected something. Okay, so extrude that out, 0.25. And, all right, that's what I want, just regular select tool. And let's go ahead and extrude that out, 0.25 as well. Okay. So move that up, and now let's go ahead and use that loop cut tool and divide up the bottom portion of these steps. And then go ahead and go through that same process. So make sure that I'm in select face mode. Press down E, extrude it out, and so on and so forth. All right, and there we go. We have those steps, and then we have this landing, and then we have the upper platform. All right, so let's go ahead and model some sconces that'll sit here. It'll be kind of these big bowls that I imagine there'd be some fires burning in. I am going to hop out of edit mode. I'll go back into object mode. I want to make sure that I do not have these steps selected, and I'm going to click on Add Mesh UV Sphere. Okay, so whenever you're adding anything to your scene, I would recommend that you add in a mesh as opposed to doing any other type of object. Okay, so I'll hold down Control Tab, go into the edit mode, and now let's see, I'll look at this from the front. I'll hop over here to wireframe mode, and I believe with the wireframe mode, I can select through the object. All right, so I'll select that upper half. We'll just double check the back side. It looks like everything's been selected, so I'll go ahead and go back into the regular shaded view. All right, I'll go back into the front, go into scale, and I want to scale all this down to where it is essentially flat. Okay. I'll translate it back down in here like so. All right, and now what I'm going to do is I will press C to get that paint select tool and hold down shift so that I'm only selecting, or so I'm deselecting what part of what's already selected. We'll go ahead and paint all the way around this object. And now what I'm going to do, well, I'll press escape to get out of that tool. I'll press E, and I'm going to extrude this down in so I have a little bit of depth to it. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at our object from the top view. I'll zoom out just a little here. And actually, I'm going to hop over to this shaded view where we're looking at the objects with some shadows. It makes seeing this landing a little easier to do. Hold down Control Tab, go back over to Object Mode, select this object, and I'm going to visually position it right in here on this landing. All right, so if we switch our view over to the front, I can go ahead and bring that up like so. And it is totally fine to allow that object to clip through the base of that landing. That's not going to cause any problems whatsoever. All right, so now that we have this object created, all I need to do is right-click on this object and select Duplicate Object, or else I could press Shift-D. When I create that new duplicate, it's going to be kind of attached to my cursor. I'm just going to press Escape so it goes back to its original position. And since we're working symmetrically on the grid, I'm just going to look along the axis that I want to mirror that on. It's on the y-axis, and so I can just change this value from -2 to a +2, and it should put it in exactly the same position on the opposite side of those stairs. Okay. All right, I like how that's looking. Let's go ahead and model some columns. So in object mode, I'll click on add, come down to mesh, and let's go ahead and start modeling this out of a cylinder. Now that cylinder, scale-wise, is way, 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 way too big. So let's go ahead and scale that down. I'll click on the outside of that scaling ring and kind of find a scale that works visually and proportionately with everything else. All right, so I'm going to drag that over here, about like so. Okay, I will look at this scene from the front. I think I'm going to go into edit mode, and I will select, I'm going to go into wireframe mode with that, and I am going to undo that move that I just did and select all these vertices for the top. Okay, now let's just make sure that that's what I do have selected. Go back to the front view, and I am going to translate in some height there. Okay, so I'll go about that tall. All right, so we'll go ahead and deselect that. Now I think what I'm going to do is I'm also going to create a top and a bottom for this pillar right here. And let's go ahead and make that out of another cube. So we'll click on Object, Mesh, come down to Cube. Okay, go ahead and bring this up. I'm going to look at this from the top view. Let's scale that cube in, like so. Okay, let's go ahead and translate it. Bring it somewhere right about over in here. And actually, I'm going to just kind of bump it off to the side. I can click on this cylinder, and I can pay attention to its locational positioning on an x-axis and on a y-axis. So I'll just click on that and copy it. All right, come over to the cube, select that attribute, and go ahead and paste. Okay, and come here, we'll copy that y value. Come over to the cube, select its current y value, and paste and replace it. Okay. Now we can see that I do need to scale this object up a little bit more. All right, so just have a little offset between this column and that box there. All right, so I'll go ahead and translate that box down. It's fine to have the box go through and be clipping, clipping into the ground plane, so it gives us the footprint that we're looking for. Now, something that I neglected to show you in class is we can actually add some bevels to this box. I'm going to go into edit mode, and let's just select the edges. And so currently it looks like all the edges are selected. I'll just hop into wireframe just to confirm that. I just click on this option right here, and I believe you click and hold and drag and kind of play around with it. All right, and you can add a little bit of a bevel to it if you feel like that is needed, if you feel that is necessary. So I'm going to come back over here to object mode. Okay, I'll take a look at this from the front again. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit, and I will hit Shift D to duplicate that, hit Escape, put that duplicate back in its position, and then I'll go ahead and translate it up like this. Now I'll hold down Shift, select all of these objects, right click, and select Join, and now they're basically grouped together. Okay, I'm going to tap that over just a little bit so it's not encroaching in the space in the stairs. I'll hit Shift D, hit Escape, come over to the Y value and change it from a negative 1.74 to a positive 1.74, and then it'll throw that column on the other side. Hit Shift D, translate that duplicate over, and go ahead and place it somewhere in there like so. If you want, you can look at this from the top view, just to make sure that it's feeling appropriately spaced in this space right here. So maybe I can scoot it over a little bit so we have the same amount of negative space here as we do right there on the front side of that pillar. Let's go ahead and zoom out. I'll hit Shift D, Escape, change that value from a positive 3.55 to a negative 3.55. So we can just pop it over to the other side. Okay, let's play around with this just a little bit more. I'll select this object. I'll go into edit mode. So we'll go ahead and select these vertices. Let's see. Do a lasso selection on those. I'm just going to rotate around it, make sure I have everything selected that I wanted. All right. Now I'll just grab that stuff, translate it back to start to give this building a wee bit of depth. Okay. Go back into object mode. I'll select this pillar, Shift D, translate that back, drop it somewhere right in here, hit Shift D again, translate this one forward. I'll look at this from the top view. Okay, and I'm just going to visually, place it somewhere between this pillar and that pillar. Actually, this one looks like it could come forward just a hair. All right, I like how that's looking, so we'll select this, Shift D. Let's see, I'm not sure if I created the duplicate. Let's try that again. Shift D, change this to a positive for the y-axis. Whoops. Okay, grab this one right here, Shift D, Escape, change that to a positive on the y-axis, and so it just pops it over to the other side like so. All right. So let's go ahead and put a roof on this. I will add, I want to make sure I don't have anything selected. I will add a new cube. Let's go ahead and elevate this cube up here and use some of the scale tools. Start to make it the right scale. Maybe I'll look down on this from the top. All right, let's go ahead and scale it down this way now. Okay, translate that, and I'm just going to go ahead and drop it over here. Now I'm trying to position it somewhere where the tops of the columns height-wise match the bottoms of the columns like so. Can rotate around this. Let's go ahead and go into edit mode. I'll just grab this back face and you can go ahead and fudge it back like so. All right, go back into object mode. I'll take this and I'll duplicate it. I'm going to just translate this duplicate up a little bit. Go back into edit mode and I'll use the loop cut tool and pop a loop right in the center. And then we will select that loop and elevate it just a little bit so we have a pitch to this roof. Go back into object mode. I'm going to come down here and just kind of nestle it in there like so. And now we have this big huge gap in between the two. And I will fill that gap with a plane. Bring the plane up. Let's go ahead and rotate the plane. Looks like along the y-axis. So we'll go ahead and change that to 90. Go into edit mode. I'll loop cut the center of that. Let's see, I'm not sure if I got the center. Boop. Okay, so loop cut the center of that. And now I am going to go back into object mode. Bring it up here like so. Translate it forwards. Right. Go back into edit mode. And I think I'll go into the select vertice mode. Right. Select those. Let's go ahead and translate those down in here. Let's see. I'm not sure what I just did. Give me just one moment here. All right. Go ahead and grab this edge and that edge right there. Let's scale those edges out like so. Go back into vertice mode. Select this vertice. Select that vertice. And go ahead and translate them down. And there we go. I have, just the basic structure of that Greek temple. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to start to situate things so we're getting a decent point of view through our camera. Okay. Now, one of the easiest ways to do this, click on Edit, come down to your preferences, go to your input and make sure the Emulate Numpad is selected. Okay, because with that being turned on, the toggle between the perspective camera and the actual camera is the the 0 key. All right, and now what we can do is we can actually navigate our camera around, find the point of view that we like. All right, so somewhere in there like so. And I believe it is Control, Alt, or Option 0 will actually turn that into the camera view. Okay. So we need to kind of fudge this just a little bit. So in my scene collection right up here, I'm going to select my camera. Right. Maybe we'll look at this from the top-down view and zoom out a little bit. So I'll select the camera. All right, I'm not sure why it's not letting me select it. Oh, I know why it's not. It's because I'm not in object mode. Okay, so I'm going to need to do that again. So I'll press 0. Okay. Sorry, I'm still getting used to these navigation tools. Right, Control Option 0. Press 0. Zoom out a little bit more. Give myself just a little bit more of an upshot. Try and watch out for tangents and stuff. Control Option 0. All right, and I'm starting to get things positioned in a way where I can work with it a little bit more successfully. Okay, so when you're happy with how this is starting to turn out, what you can do is click on View, come down to Viewport Render Image, and then it will create a render of what you're seeing through your camera. Okay, and then I believe you can just click on image and you can go ahead and save that image somewhere where it's easy for you to find. All right, so I hope that's helpful. Please hop online and take a look at other Blender tutorials. There's going to be a bunch of stuff out there that will supplement what I taught you in class. It'll supplement what I'm showing you through this demo right here, and really help you to more fully take advantage of this tool.